That one's good. This one never got posted. There's no point anymore. No one's gonna care. Damn it.
Publish your work.
You're probably going to regret it if you don't.
Here's me in college. I was quite the writer. Being raised by an English professor and a writer, I was reading and writing well above the level of my peers for basically all of my schooling. Not to flex, but it was my thing. And yet I rarely ever sought publication for my work. And that sucked. It's not that I didn't want to, but I never really, made time for, or the room for it among the busyness of school and life during that time. It was one of those pipe dreams, but not one I was willing to take even 10 minutes to Google something for, I suppose. And I never had that TV show cinematic mentor that put in the work for me or pushed me to do it or found me those opportunities. It was mostly just me in that regard. I think what I struggled with the most, though, it was a fusion of a lack of confidence in my work and that the idea that anyone would actually care about what I had to say or what I was making, and an overconfidence in the future of web media and, self-publishing. I may have been right about the personal branding, self-published world that was to come. By all means, we are here. But it absolutely narrowed my focus way too much, too heavily onto video. While I was floundering trying to figure out how to make professional and entertaining videos from nothing, I was already a strong writer and somewhat of a competent photographer. Yet my photographs would never be seen by eyes that weren't related to me for years, and my writing would rarely see the outside of a classroom. I did have some early experience submitting my work to places, though. In the mid-2000s, I was obsessed with poetry. The focus on clever prose and communicating big ideas in a small amount of words. In many ways, I equate poetry to the TikTok or Vines of writing. That's a hot take. Gotta tweet that, X that. Anyway, I loved it. And since I was already pretty heavily online at the time, I wound up submitting quite a few of my poems to contests on the poetry.com website, which at the time was a wonderful repository of poems, featured contests with $1,000 prizes, and seemed to be a stepping stone to getting your work published elsewhere. Plus, the chance of having your name in the byline for the poem of the day on the homepage was very alluring. I never won any cash prizes, but I did receive a few Editor's Choice Awards in the mail from the website in partnership with the International Library of Poetry, which seems to no longer exist. F's in chat. While this would have theoretically been a pretty strong motivator for me to continue seeking publication, I ran into the age-old middle school problem. I was embarrassed by it. Despite the fact that I was theoretically winning awards for my work, be it frivolous ones or not, I didn't even really know at the time. I didn't want anyone to read my poems. I didn't want that vulnerability exposed to anyone. There's a sense of security that comes from publishing your innermost thoughts to complete strangers online that you don't have with people who actually know you, seeing those thoughts. That sense of security is all but gone today, as online anonymity barely exists anymore, but it was there before. Don't let fear or embarrassment deter you. Anyone who would dare mock you for putting yourself out there and for trying to achieve the thing is either jealous that you're doing it or just can't wrap their mind around even trying to accomplish something like this, to walk down the creative path. These people will never achieve your dreams, perhaps never achieve their own. Their opinions do not matter. Beyond my brief stint as a poet, I rarely knew of other opportunities to get published or enter contests. It was just never something on my radar growing up. In college, I had the option and was encouraged to submit my research papers and other writings for the research journal and so on. But it would have required extensive peer review and other work. It would have been worth it, let me make that clear, but I was too wrapped up in some silly YouTube channel to make time for it. Thankfully, my work on the college newspaper was submitted for various awards for me by the journalism program. I wound up winning 2 first places and a second place with the Society of Professional Journalists and a second place with the Indiana Collegiate Press Association during my time with the paper. Being ahead of the entire industry on video and interactive web work certainly helped, of course. Going to those awards dinners and being recognized for what could sometimes be a whole semester's worth of work was really rewarding. I've always looked at my friends and colleagues who have gotten published in certain ways or featured in galleries or whatever and wished that I could get off my ass and get there myself. But I've rarely put in the work to make that happen. Don't be like me. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, as former President Seto Kaiba once said. To this day, I've only ever submitted my photography work for publication twice. Both for that college newspaper, both were uncredited, both were mostly insignificant.
That's my family's backyard in the cover of the newspaper. I don't even entirely know why. I think the issue had a big story about, hey, it's time to go outside and we needed a cool outside picture for springtime. So that's my kid sister's swing set from 2014 on the cover of the newspaper.
Otherwise, outside of my own social media and Flickr, my photos have never been published anywhere else, despite photography being one of my favorite art forms. Even writing and reading this now, I don't even know where to submit the cool photos I took in my downtown area to anyone relevant that might want to use them for something. I just haven't put in the time to figure it out. Don't be like me. Once you're confident in what you're doing, either push to find the right avenues to have a publication publish and release your work, or use the infinite resources of the internet to publish it yourself. But once a piece is done, make sure you're allocating the time to getting it out there. This seems obvious given the current creator landscape, and anyone making internet-first works might find it strange that someone would even second-guess such an idea. But you'd be surprised how many people with thriving online presences and YouTube channels and Instagrams and whatever don't actually publish the good stuff. It's kind of a natural consequence of online content becoming its own thing, separate from our usual work or art. I'm one of those people. I was a writer and a photographer long before I was a YouTuber or content creator. I publish a lot of my own work. One might even argue that between my career teaching others how to create and make their own media online and my long history, that self-publishing is a significant chunk of my personality even. But yet, I've really struggled to seek publication for my work outside of the job aspect. I'm not talking about sharing a photo you took on Twitter either. That's not publishing. I'm talking about putting it on a website you own, getting it featured in a magazine or a journal, having it hosted in a gallery, whatever makes sense for, the thing that you're doing. Yes, self-publishing is okay, but make it formal. Put the weight behind it equal to the work you put into it, to the meaning that you feel behind it. If you're proud of your photography work, especially if you want to be hired as a photographer, put together a portfolio website. Use whatever creator discount code for whatever easy site builder you get advertised to constantly. I have an affiliate link with Namecheap, the service I use to buy all my cool domains like glitch.mov and EposVox.gg, linked below if you want to get started. However you do it, just do it. Random photos on Instagram won't get you the professional street cred that submitted work and a real website would. If you do videography work, again, have a client contact website and take the time to edit together a proper demo reel. Post it on Vimeo and embed that in your website for bonus, ooh, they fancy points. If you're a writer, seek outlets to write for. If you do anything else, find contests, find outlets, put in the work. Get it seen. Making art for yourself or for limited viewing is totally okay. It's safe. It's a required step to learn and grow and build the skills necessary to improve in the first place. And continuing to make private works is essential to maintaining your sanity. But getting published in some way is also crucial for making all this time worth it, for having even a chance at achieving your dreams. The people you see around you who get published or get featured in galleries, they're just like you. Often, they might not be anywhere near as skilled or as experienced as you. But you didn't get picked or contacted because you didn't try. Half the battle is just showing up. I can confirm myself, the results from just trying have absolutely been worth it. I've done better about this the past couple years. I've started writing for PC World, which has been awesome. I've been on their podcast. I got spots on the Digital Foundry podcast and done a couple commissioned videos for them, which is like dream job material, even though their work is intense. I started a documentary series, Print Screen, on another video platform, which The series will be coming to YouTube at some point, and we'll be continuing. I don't have any concrete details on that just yet, but I'll update you when that comes. I'd say better late than never, but in this case, I'm not sure that applies. This could have been the start of some really good conversations about genres and web media back in the early days, and now it seems silly to even read. Though I still haven't found the right way to publish or feature my photography yet, outside of obvious like photo album portfolio kind of things. I'm open to opinions there. All I ask is that you don't wait. It's not the healthiest thing to ponder what ifs, but imagining how much further along I'd be in any of my interests or hobbies or would-be job paths if I was just trying to get published or trying to get it done along the way. You know, if I had submitted my work to that contest, if I had pursued publication for that research paper, if I'd gone to more than the one acting audition where I was apparently passed over only because of hair color, because they needed a black-haired kid, not a blonde-haired kid. If I had just tried a little bit more, it haunts me sometimes. We don't live in an age anymore where you can die and all of your best work be discovered and turn into classics that society appreciates for centuries. That's not gonna happen. Don't wait. Your work is worth being seen. It's also worth remembering to be kind. Rewind.